Hey guys, it's your boy Adrian. How you doing? Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe on this channel. I really appreciate it. Just starting to work on some content, and yeah, so we got some big news, I guess. Well, not really big news, but NHL free agency starting this week. I think it's Wednesday or Thursday, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there's also more than that. There was also some trades last week. Talk about that maybe another time. Maybe on my podcast. Check out my podcast at the Doghouse Sports Podcast. Not a big deal. But anyways, yeah, so we got Jack Eichel who's still available. There's been months and months of trade speculation going on. I personally, it's just my opinion, I think a deal is going to be coming soon. I don't know when, but I think a deal is going to be coming soon. A lot of trade talk surrounding him lately. Last week I've been hearing a lot of teams. I've been hearing some like others, some insiders like Elliot Friedman. You got Derek Dreger. Montreal. Now my bias. I've been just seeing this. Montreal's in the mix. Minnesota, Vegas might be in there. The Kings. I might have heard the Bruins a bit. Anaheim, New York, Calgary. New York Rangers, by the way. Calgary. I heard Toronto a bit, but I don't think that's very likely. But yeah, there's just a lot of scenarios for him. I think, again, he's one of those players that a lot of teams are going to kind of go all in for. So yeah, I honestly, my bias, my heart says Montreal. Personally, I just don't know if we're going to get him. We have the assets. It's just I don't know if Bergevin is willing to give up the assets for him, because I think Buffalo is going to want a player like a Suzuki or a Romanov type of player. I see a lot of Habs fans suggesting on the internet that they trade Kotkaniemi instead, which personally I think would be better for our organization instead of trading Suzuki. But I think honestly, Buffalo's going to want a player like Suzuki instead. Nick Suzuki as him, but I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because it's a really, really hard situation, because Buffalo's asking price is ridiculous right now apparently, and a lot of teams, the reason why there hasn't been a trade yet is because just a lot of teams are just not willing to give up the assets that Buffalo is asking for. So eventually, I've been hearing the asking price might go down for him. I mean, personally, they still should get a good return for him. My honest and humble opinion, I think the Rangers is the best fit. It just makes sense. I mean, looking at New York's prospect pool, they have the assets to give up for him. Then you have, again, down the middle, you have Eichel and Zibanejad on your two top lines as your centers. Like, that's gonna be pretty freaking good, man. You might see a guy like maybe Capo Caco. I think that's, yeah, that kid they got a couple years ago in the draft. Mate, I don't know if people agree with this. You might see a guy like a Lafreniere go the other way. I kind of heard people speculating that too. I don't know for sure. I mean, geez, he was the first overall pick. But hey, if they really want him, they'll probably give him up and get, instead of waiting for a Lafreniere to develop, they get a already established NHL superstar in Eichel. Personally, if the Rangers will kind of want to move past the rebuild phase and they want to speed it up and maybe start contending for a cup, then yeah, I think maybe you gotta trade guys like that. Maybe, again, that's just my opinion. If you want to move up and do the process quicker, I heard Calgary. It's kind of weird team. I think Friedman said Calgary. Personally, again, Calgary has the assets to give up for him. It's just, will they? Calgary's kind of in a weird position right now with looking like they're going into a rebuild. You might see guys like Monahan and Goodrow out the door. I mean, Giordano's gone. Kachuk wants out. So there's going to be a lot of turnover, a lot of change in the Calgary roster, I would assume, going into this year. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I heard LA and Vegas. I think I said that. Los Angeles, yeah, Los Angeles has good prospects too to give up. But Los Angeles definitely has the assets. Personally, Minnesota's another good fit. Another team that has been mentioned quite a bit on the internet too by a lot of insiders. A lot of people are saying see him go to Minnesota. That's a good fit too, actually. The more I think of it, good young team. You can put him on the top 6 there with some of those young players they got. Maybe with Kaprizov. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. He rejected that long-term deal, so maybe you might just see a Kaprizov for a Eichel, maybe 1-for-1, or maybe a couple of picks Minnesota side or a couple of prospects, but you might see that too. The Ducks, I heard the Ducks. Even Boston was in the mix for a while. I mean, him being from Boston, it's kind of a no-brainer. I personally don't really see him going and getting traded within I think it's the Atlantic Division, which is my Habs. That's our division. I just personally don't see it happening, unless it's an offer you just cannot refuse. But I really don't see him being traded within the division. Usually when you trade your franchise player, you trade him away from the conference and just don't maybe see him once or twice a year, and that's it. So yeah, it's a lot of variables though. I mean, obviously every team's going to make a pitch for him, obviously worth it. There is some character issues though. I mean, it seems like it, because of the way it's going in Buffalo, how he's going against the coaching staff, contradicting the coaching staff, and doing stuff like that. It's not looking good. You know, personally though, I was talking to someone about this earlier, like, I feel bad for him. I really do, because again, he's been there obviously for 6 years now. You know, a player of his caliber should not be asking for a trade, you know, and should not be playing on a team like that, you know. I really thought Buffalo would be better since they got him, and like, you know, I've been kind of following Buffalo since he got there, right? And just I feel really horrible for him. Just that's why he just seems so frustrated. Like the narrative about him seems like maybe he's a character problem, but honestly, at the same time, it's like they're not building the team around him. They're just it's not working. They're not building the team around him. I thought they had potential. You know, they had going into the 2018-19 season. I was like, you know, pick up Jeff Skinner. He, you know, even scores 40 goals there. You know, you got Rasmus Dahlin coming off there, and you know, a couple of the Reinhart. Well, Reinhart's gone, but it's just, man, I feel for him. I really do feel for him. I understand his frustration, but at the same time, you know, he's the captain. He's kind of got to compose himself maybe a little bit better. Maybe discuss these things internally instead of bringing it to the media. And at the same time, though, I love his compete level. Obviously, he hates losing. He doesn't tolerate it, and those are guys you maybe want. Again, that may be the character flaws. I don't know. It's just reports. I really hope not. I mean, a player of his caliber should not be in this situation. Should not. And even a guy like McDavid too. McDavid should not be getting swept in the first round in 4 games and getting fucking shut out. Shouldn't happen, man. It's fucking ridiculous that this league fucking goes that far, or the players fucking play on these shitty teams. You never see that in like the NBA, the NFL, you know, other leagues. It's fucking sad. But anyways, that's my take on Jack Eichel, where I think he'll land. I personally think the Rangers are the best bet. Rangers or Minnesota. Maybe you might see the dark horse of the Kings there, maybe. But I personally think, though, Kings, Wild, maybe the Kings. Sorry, the Kings, Wild, and the Rangers. Oh my God, I can't even speak. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez. Got the COVID vaccine yesterday, and I'm fucking exhausted, so still feeling those side effects, but I'm here. I'm still good. And anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel here, Adrian Daramondo, Adrian Daramondo Media, whatever you want to call it. And don't forget to check out my podcast, the Doghouse Sports Podcast, my new and rebranded podcast that me and a couple of my boys started up here. And we got some good guests coming up, some hockey players, and got an episode that's going to be uploaded tonight, and it's going to be pretty huge. So check it out. Thanks a lot. Take care.